Okay, we're finally gonna do this. We're gonna compare these two grinders. Now this is one of the most requested videos that I have had because these are two grinders that are fairly common and popular within the home barista forums and just within Espresso at home. And so I thought that would fit perfectly within Brew at Home and just being able to compare these two grinders, because many of you at home who are wanting to go into a prosumer level of espresso want the great grinder at home without breaking the bank. Now, I'm gonna preface in saying that I currently own both of these, but I do plan on getting rid of the Specialita. I wanna start off saying that I prefer the niche, but we're gonna get into that. I wouldn't say everybody watching this video is going to agree with me. Some of you are going to prefer this grinder, and some of you are gonna prefer this grinder. So let's get into it. So we've got the Eureka Mignon Specialita on this side. And this is a grinder that I actually bought last year, and it's one of the most popular home grinders for espresso currently in that prosumer level range. Now, if we're talking entry-level espresso, that's not the grinder you're probably gonna start off with. That's a whole nother video. It ain't this one. But if you're getting into prosumer level espresso, you want to make really good cafe quality espresso at home, you've probably considered the Eureka Specialita, the Mignon Specialita. And there's good reason for that. First of all, this is a well-built grinder. We're gonna get into build quality in a second, but this is a 55 millimeter flat burr grinder. Flat burrs have a unique flavor profile, and they're more rounded in flavor. If you like chocolatey, nutty coffees, flat burrs have been known to create great flavor. And when you go to a cafe, more often than not, they'll have flat burrs for many reasons, but one of those being the flavor profiles that burr actually creates. Now you're probably saying, Kyle, what does a burr difference in shape have to do with the flavor of my coffee? You were cutting that coffee up in such small little pieces, and the shape of each burr drastically changes the shape of the actual particle of coffee. A flat burr may cut it in such a way that it's, let's say, rounded or it's a certain shape, but a conical may cut it in a jagged, sharp shape. Well, what happens is when you're pouring hot water onto these very, very small grounds, they create different flavor profiles for your cup. It's crazy, I know. But for many people, the flat burr is something that they want at home. It's a beautiful little design. You know, for size, they're about the same. Eureka is known to be one of the better manufacturers for grinders in the industry. They are one of the bigger manufacturers alongside companies like Baratza. Eureka is up there, and if you have been to a cafe, you have probably seen a Eureka grinder in a cafe at some point. These are hand built in Italy. They're high quality. There's no doubt about that. You're not gonna get a bad grinder from Eureka. And so this is their Mignon, and this is their small compact home series line. This is the top of the line Mignon series grinder for espresso, and it is loaded with features. It is their greatest small compact grinder for espresso. High quality and great grinder. Now on this side, we are talking about the Niche Zero. And the Niche Zero is the new kid on the block. Now Niche is a small company compared to Eureka. This is the only grinder that they design. We're talking about a 63 millimeter conical burr system versus the 55 millimeter flat burrs. The Niche Zero, a great little grinder, also a great grinder for home brewing. So let's get into this. Let's compare the two. 5 categories I have that I want to just give you some information on for both these grinders of which one I think is better. And then at the end, I'll tell you which one I would recommend to you. So first off, let's talk about build quality. Now, right off the bat, both of these are built very well. I have no complaints for either one of these. The Eureka Mignon is a full metal body. Every part of it is heavy duty and very well done. It has a plastic hopper. It's lightweight, you know, but it does screw in here. It doesn't move around. Everything about this grinder is very well built. I took this grinder apart many times to clean it every few weeks. And even you can see the internals in this machine. It's absolutely beautiful. The craftsmanship on this is outstanding. Again, it is built in Italy. You're not gonna have any imperfections or any flaws with the design and build quality of the Eureka Mignon. Same with the niche, I have no complaints. I think it's an incredible grinder. Again, also all metal build. You know, from the looks of this, it actually looks plastic. I promise you, it's metal. It's a heavy duty machine. You know, things like the wood accents on the niche are just a nice touch that I love. Both of these are built very, very well. No complaints for build quality. I think they both win in this category. Let's talk about sound. Let's talk about how loud these grinders are. Because at home, you want a quiet grinder. Nobody wants to be woken up at 6 a.m. with a coffee grinder. Nobody wants that. I've had grinders like the Barazza Sette, an incredible home barista grinder, but that grinder is known for being loud. Now, compared to that grinder, both of these are very, very quiet. In fact, the Mignon is actually categorized as their Silencio series, their silent grinder series. Eureka is known to create quiet grinders. They started that with the Atom. Everything within this machine is all filled with gaskets and rubber housings so that everything is quiet as can be. Even the hopper, I'm not gonna take it out because there's coffee in there right now. The hopper actually has a rubber ring on the inside just to keep all the noise inside the machine. It's very quiet. And then the niche, it is a quiet grinder as well. I think this is one of the quieter grinders that I've used. I would say that the Mignon is actually quieter, but I actually prefer the noise of the niche. The niche is actually a deeper, slower motor. This one's a higher RPM, but it is quieter. They're both quiet. You're not gonna have an issue with either of these grinders, but I think I'm gonna have to give the point to the niche. Number 3, retention. Grind retention, and both of these grinders are known to be low retention grinders. And again, this simply means that what coffee you put in, you're getting out. You're not gonna have 3 or 4 or 5 grams of coffee stuck within the chutes and chambers of the grinder. And that just keeps your coffee as fresh as possible, ultimately making it taste the best. Especially for home, you don't wanna have retention because retention just leads to bad stale coffee. On this one, I mean, the Niche Zero is known to be a low retention grinder. That's why it's called a zero. It's a zero retention grinder. Now that being said, this grinder is very low retention for a flatbed grinder. I know Clive Coffee has put out a video about the retention for this grinder. I would highly recommend checking that out if you haven't seen that yet. But this is a great grinder for retention. If you want a flatbed grinder with low retention, look no further. It's the Eureka Mignon Specialita. At the end of the day, this one, I never really have to purge any coffee. If I do, it's a few beans. With this one, if I'm changing coffee, I do have to purge some coffee. So just something to be aware of. If you're wanting to change coffees often and single dose, probably not the greatest grinder for that. Some people advertise it as such. I didn't have a great experience with that. Where with the Niche, it's perfect for that. So if you're wanting a single dosing grinder, the Niche is the one to go with. Number 4 is workflow. Both of these are great grinders. Again, you're gonna hear this throughout this video. They're both great, but you're wanting to know which one's for you. Now with this one, you don't have any coffee in a hopper. There is no hopper. It's simply this little dish here. You put your coffee up there and it grinds it. That's it. You can't store multiple cups worth of coffee in there for espresso. And so if you're wanting to make back-to-back shot, it's a little harder to do on the Niche than it is on the Specialita. So the Specialita, you can fill up a full hopper, 300 grams worth of coffee, and grind as much coffee as you need. So if you need to make 6, 7, or 8 shots in a row, you've got a party, you've got people over, and you wanna make shots quick, this grinder is great for that. In fact, even if you wanna make 2 to 3 shots back to back, this grinder is gonna be more convenient than this grinder. Now that doesn't mean that's gonna be the preferred workflow. For me, I actually like weighing out my coffee every single time to make sure I have consistency in my weight. With the Specialita, I used to have to zero out my portafilter, weigh it, and then grind, and then make sure that my portafilter was exactly 18 grams, which is the dose that I prefer. With the Niche Zero, I can put 18 grams of coffee in this cup, put it inside the grinder, and I know that I'm gonna get 18 grams out or 17.9 or something along those lines. So it just really depends what you want to do. If you need to make back-to-back coffees, if you want a more convenient grinder, the Specialita is definitely more convenient. There's no doubt about that. It's not meant to single dose every single time. But if you plan on single dosing, if you're okay with single dosing, if you're okay with weighing out your coffee every time before you grind it, the niche is the great way to go. Another thing to be said that both of these are espresso grinders first, but they both do filter very well. There are numbers on the top. It's very easy to change the grind and go back to where you were before. You can do that with the Specialita as well, but it is a little harder. You just kind of have to be aware of where you are on the dial because it is a smaller dial. So just things to think about. Both are great. Just one might be better for the way that you do coffee. That's for you to decide. Last is design. And I think both of these are such beautiful grinders. I have them both in white. If you follow me at Brew at Home blog, you know my setup is all white and I think it's clean and crisp. So both of these I got in white. You can get both of these in different colors. This one comes in white and black, and the Specialita comes in a rainbow of colors. You can get it in red or yellow or orange or blue. You can get it in wood. You can get it in like a copper. So if you want something that's more specific to your home, definitely check out the Specialita for that, because you can have something almost custom to your home. Now, when it comes to design, this is definitely going to be a personal preference here. This is so subjective. I can't objectively say this one looks better than the other. The Specialita looks a little modern with a classic espresso take and a very Italian design. It's got the beautiful LED screen on the front. It's gorgeous to look at. Love the looks of this grinder. But on the flip hand, the niche looks great too. You know, this looks more like an appliance. It looks more like a juicer, or just doesn't necessarily look like a coffee grinder, which isn't bad. Just depends on what you like more. So I think for design, although I love the looks of the niche, I'm going to give it to the Specialita. When you see this on a kitchen counter, especially when the screen is on, it pops, it definitely turns your eye. Again, I could give it to either one of these. I'm kind of nitpicking here. I love the wood accents on the niche, but on the flip hand, I just love the square design of the Specialita. So you decide. Let me know in the comments below, which grinder do you think looks better? I would love to hear your thoughts. So that's that. That's the two grinders. I think I could talk forever on what I love and don't love about these grinders. They're both great. They're gonna do a great job in your home if you have either one of these. The only reason I am not keeping the Specialita is because I have the niche, and I think that this just works better for my lifestyle. We want one grinder instead of two. With this grinder, we had coffee in the hopper, and to single dose wasn't ideal, and so we had to have I had a Baratza Encore to go with this for filter coffee, and that was an espresso grinder. But with the niche, I can have one grinder and it does both things because there's zero retention. I'm gonna miss this grinder. I really, really am. I loved it a lot, and I wouldn't have been getting rid of it if I didn't have the niche, but this grinder is just so great. I can't keep both, and I don't need both, and so I've got to say goodbye to the Specialita. So which one should you buy? Which one should you get? Well, it depends on your lifestyle. I think really it comes down to, hey, if you want a zero retention grinder, you want something you can just weigh your coffee, put it in and grind it, and just drink your coffee. You want to be able to do filter and espresso with one single grinder. I think the niche is the better grinder to go with. Now, if you do a lot of espresso at home, you very rarely find yourself doing filter, or you have a filter grinder separately. You want something that's quiet, you want something that's convenient and clean. You want something you can just kind of grind in the morning without having to weigh your beans every single time. The Specialita is a great grinder. Do you have one of these grinders? Which one would you buy? I would love to hear in the comments below. Hopefully this helps. I love both these grinders. I'm really sad to see this one go, but I'm so pumped about this one right here because it's just so nice. Anyways, if you like this video, definitely smash that like button, and I would love if you would follow me at Brew at Home blog or subscribe to my YouTube channel, and that would be so appreciated. Have a great day, stay well, and continue as always to brew at home.